Vietnam.
Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Ministers, the Chamber of Commerce, and the investors, that outsiders may not easily understand Africa. So you need to explain. Because Africa is so rich, but also so underdeveloped. So it must be confusing to somebody who doesn't know. He may think that Africans are idiots. Why is it that Africa is so rich, but yet it's not developed? They may not tell you, but they have it in their mind. They wonder, what's wrong with these people? So you should really not assume that they will understand. Now, Africa is a very huge continent. You can get United States, China, India, the whole of Western Europe, and you put them in Africa, they will fit there. It is so huge, with a lot of resources. But also, Africa has really been underpopulated for a long time. Because, as you can hear, it is 12 times the size of India, but up to recently, our population was smaller than that of India. And why was this? This was because Africa is very good for the human beings, but also very good for the enemies of the human being. It is good for both the human being and his enemies. And who are the enemies? The mosquitoes, the tsetse flies, the bacteria. So the population of Africa has really been underpopulated for the last 4.5 million years. However, now, with modern medicine, we have been able to overcome now the enemies of man. That's why you hear that the population of Africa has now overtaken the population of India, although India is much smaller, 12 times smaller, but it has been having a bigger population all this time. But now the African population has overtaken India, and it will be 2.5 billion in the next 30 years. So therefore, those who are planning to make money, you should get your spectacles focused properly. Now, the other problem is that Africa has been balkanized by colonialism into 54 countries. They are the same people, mainly, but cut into 54 countries. So the market at the beginning at the end of colonialism, 1950 something, was fragmented. So Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Kenya, Tanzania. So that was another issue. The issue because business means you produce, you sell. The more you sell, the better. If you produce and you don't sell, you go bankrupt. Or you don't sell enough. So that was another issue, the history. And then the history goes with the geography. A country like Uganda is very rich in everything. We have got everything. There's nothing that we don't have, except coal. Coal is the only thing we don't have. Coal. But we are landlocked. 1,000 miles from the ocean. So that's why there are for you who want to explain to outsiders come to Uganda, you should inform them fully so that they know. Don't just come and say, oh, come, you, what. They may not believe you because they are wondering, how is it a continent so rich, yet so underdeveloped? They may not tell you, but they have it in their head. Now, coming to Uganda, coming to Uganda, the population now is 43 million. But at independence, 1962, population was small. It was only about 7 million. And the colonial economy was what we call an enclave economy. Enclave is a word for island. Island, enclave. So you get a small island. This was typical of the colonial economy. Colonial, neo-colonial. They were enclave. You have a small island of modernity surrounded by a sea of backwardness. That's what it was. And the enclave of Uganda was enclave of the 3 C's and 3 T's. The three C's were cotton, coffee, and copper. Those were the 3 products, the 3 C's. Cotton, coffee, and copper, which is the British we are taking out. The 3 T's were tobacco, tea, and tourism. So this was 1962. But in 1971, a man called Idi Amin, who was a colonial sergeant, he was a sergeant in the British Army. The sergeant looks after 30 people in the army. He took over government and became a field marshal. He made himself a field marshal. So he ruined. So there were 2 problems. First of all, this enclave economy was small. But now Idi Amin comes in and destroys it. From 1972, the small enclave, the small island of what you would call a modern economy, a money economy, let me call it money economy. Because you need to understand that one also. Money economy versus non-money economy. Much of the economy of Africa is non-money. These foreigners, we will not understand that if we don't explain. The majority of the people, like in Uganda, until recently, 68% of the people in Uganda were not in the money economy. They were in the non-money economy. That's why when you use money measurements, you may not understand. Because until 2013, 68% of the homesteads in Uganda were outside the money economy. They were in what we call subsistence economy. Economy where you feed your house. You grow your crops, you feed yourself, and you don't bother with the money. That's why, for instance, problems like the ones you have in other parts of the world, lack of food and so on, they talk about food security. In Uganda, we have no food problem. Not at all. But it is food, non-money. You produce your own food. I produce my food, my neighbor produces his food, and we feed ourselves. But in terms of the money economy, I don't earn money. I eat, feed the stomach, but no money in my pocket. So because of that, I'm not able to build a better house, to do this, the things which need money. I have food, but no money. Remember, Africa is underpopulated. Population is small compared to the land area. You take a country like Congo, DRC. DRC is the same size as India in land area, much richer in terms of natural resources. But it has got a population of only 80 million people. So therefore, the big battle is to go from the traditional economy of non-money to the modern economy of money. I'm telling you, Uganda are educated people. The literacy rate in Uganda is very high. It's more than almost 80%. But until recently, 68% of the people were outside the money economy. They just produce food and eat and... Of course, it creates problem for the government. Where does the government get money to buy medicine, to buy this, to buy that? So on the one hand, people are not dying because of hunger. They have food, but they don't have money, and the government doesn't have money enough. So it's a vicious cycle. By 1971, we were exporting 23 million kilograms of tea. By 1986, we were exporting only 3 million kilograms. It had collapsed. So that's where we start from. 1986, when we come in. So when we come in, and there was big shortages of everything, shortages of of shop, of money products. Food was there. Food was not a problem. People were eating in the villages. But the problem was sugar. There was no sugar. There was no beer. Those Ugandans like drinking beer. They like beer so much. So there was no beer, no sodas, no industrial, no consumer goods of the shop. Paraffin, all those were not there. So therefore, in the last 36 years, the Ugandan economy has been growing at the rate of 6.5% per annum from that time. But growing from a very low base, from a low base. And that growth of 6.5%, number one was, we called it minimum recovery program. Minimum recovery meant, because when there was shortage of consumer goods, shortage of soap, no soap for washing, no beer for our people, no cigarettes, no all those little things. Then the answer was magendo, which was smuggling from the neighboring countries. Then the other answer, then there was shortage of foreign currency. Foreign currency was a big shortage. So there was another black market for foreign currency known as Kibanda, where you would get a few dollars, you go at the official exchange rate, then you go and you sell at the black market. Then there was also something they called Oksamra. Oksamra was speculation. Because of shortages, you buy something here, you go and sell it many times. So therefore, the first task of the government, so in other words, the economy, which had been an enclave economy, had now a new problem of informalization. It was no longer formal. It was informal, because when you smuggle, nobody knows what you have smuggled. So the government cannot collect tax on the smuggled. So the first thing to do, part of the minimum recovery, was to reformalize the economy, to make the economy formal again, so that the beer which is drunk is from the factory, and therefore you can get tax from it. The sugar, the soap, the things now come through, no longer through smuggling, which is informal, but through formal. And this one was achieved. In Uganda, was achieved in a very, very short time. In Uganda, you don't have any shortages of any consumer item. Don't have any shortage. On the contrary, we have got huge surplus of all those products, soap, sugar, all of them, beer, they must be drowning in beer. All of those products, they're in plenty. And we export some to the neighboring countries. So that the minimum recovery program was and has been achieved. Then there was expansion and diversification. Like if you go to tea, I told you that tea had declined from 60 million kilograms, no, from 23 million kilograms to 3 million. As I speak today, the production of tea is 60 million kilograms. So, recovery and expansion. Coffee production had gone to 2 million bags. It is now 8.4 million bags. Vietnam is 11 million bags. We are threatening to overtake you. Then you got all the products. Maize. Production of maize was very low. It's now more than 5 million tons. Maize, sugar, all of them. And new products, not new in Uganda, but new in commercialization. Like milk. I'm a milk drinker. From day one to the age of 8, I was drinking only milk. I was not eating these other things. But Uganda was not producing milk for the market. By 1986, they were importing powdered milk from Denmark and putting water and putting a stamp, Uganda Dairy Corporation. The Dairy Corporation was water. Otherwise, the milk was from Denmark. Powdered milk was from Denmark. But now, we are producing 3 billion liters of milk per year. This is it's not a new product in Uganda, it is ancient. But in the market, it's new. In the colonial times, I would see milk tins from Switzerland, from New Zealand, from I don't know where. And yet we had cows. We had cows in Uganda, but they were not linked with the market. But now we are producing 3 billion liters, and Uganda is consuming only 800 million. So we've got a surplus of 2.2 billion liters. And we are exporting to the US some products, of some proteins from milk. They crack it and get some protein called casein. So number one, minimum recovery. To solve the problem of shortages and go back to the 1971 level, the one before Idi Amin. Number two, expand the enclave, but also diversify it. Now, number three, transformation. Build a new quality of economy based on science. And that's where cooperation with Vietnam would be very interesting. We are now producing our own vehicles, electric vehicles. this king man was talking of green economy. We're already there. Our scientists have designed and produced electric vehicles, buses, minibuses. Kira is the name of the Nile. That's what we call the Nile in our language. We call it Kira, the river Nile. So we have rejected, and nobody will waste our time with the idea of importing fully built vehicles. Finished, no more. Japanese have made enough money from us. They can come and pay some compensation if they want, but if they don't, we shall stand, we shall manage. The small cars. And we also don't accept the idea of assembling. No. Because assembling is another hidden way of importing. Because you import a vehicle which is dismantled and you assemble it here and you call it made in Uganda, that's what we don't accept. It must be either manufacture or fabrication. A university is producing electric motorcycles so that we get rid of these dirty vehicles. Then vaccines. We are busy working on the vaccines. The corona one, these other vaccines, and other vaccines like the vaccines for livestock. We have got a number of products. The therapeutics, the medicines. Then the sanitizers. Those ones. The sanitizers were very easy because we were producing a lot of alcohol already. So all that was needed is to upgrade the lethality of the alcohol from 40%, 70%. And we have got a lot of sanitizers. And so on. So therefore, that's why I was interested to visit the Vietnamese center today, the one of electronics, and telephones and so on. That's where we need cooperation in the electronics, so that we put brains in our cars and our machines and so on. Now, regarding the other, like the electric cars, we are making the cars now, but we are still importing the batteries. We are going to stop this because we have everything. We have the lithium, the mineral in Uganda. We have the niobium. We have the cobalt. We have all those things. The rare earth. We have all those. So what we want are partners to come and be with us, produce the batteries in Uganda so that we don't have to import that. Because those inputs make the products unnecessarily expensive. Like for instance, we are producing some medicines, some tablets, but we have been using industrial starch from India. Now that makes the tablet more expensive, and yet the tablet is the starch is from cassava, and from. So we are solving all those gaps. So therefore, I really want to, the struggle now, as I've told you that until a few years ago, 68% of the Ugandans were outside the money economy, until about 4 years ago. Now, for the first time, 61% are in the money economy, but 39% are still outside. We are struggling to bring all of them into the money economy. Therefore, the potential is huge, really is huge. The economies of a country like Uganda is confusing because you may say GDP, they say GDP now of Uganda is about 45, 46 billion dollars. But this is if you use the exchange rate method. If you use the purchasing power method, it is 130 billion. Because the issue is that we produce, but we don't export much. The moment we export much, then we shall get more. The exchange, the Uganda shilling will strengthen, because the economy in the Uganda shilling is growing. It's growing in the Ugandan shilling. But when you translate it into dollars, because of the exchange rate, then you get a distorted picture. I think the better method to use is the PPP, power purchasing parity. Purchasing power parity. That puts the economy of Uganda at 130 billion now. And the per capita is 3,000 if you do that. If you use the other one, the exchange rate method, then you end up with 45 billion, 46, it will be about 50, so about 50 now, with per capita of 1,000 something. But it's not accurate. It's a temporary issue. The moment we solve the issue of exports, the economy is very strong. So therefore, now we don't have any problem of food, because I heard people saying that there was a problem of food because of the war in Ukraine. What food are you talking about? You're talking about wheat. Wheat is a European food. We don't eat. I told you, you eat cassava. Stop. Then rice. Rice is what we learned from the Chinese. Chinese are the ones who brought rice in Uganda. And some of our people eat it now, and we would like to buy this from Vietnam, because we are buying from Tanzania, but sometimes they don't have enough. So we can concentrate on producing what we do best, cassava, bananas, maize, millet. Millet, I was informing the agricultural center of Vietnam about the millet. Millet is one of the richest foods in life. When you see those huge Africans like that one there, those are all because of the millet. They eat so much millet. So in conclusion, I would like to invite our friends from Vietnam to come and invest in some of these areas. I can think of 3 categories or 4. Value addition on agricultural products like coffee, textiles, fruits, cereals, milk, beef, forest products. Forest products produce paper, produce all those things, produce ceiling boards, niobium, Those are minerals. Fresh water products, fruits, and so on. Any of these, they are all available. B, add value to minerals. To produce steel, we've got very huge deposits of iron ore. To produce copper products for transformers, for wires, for electrical, cobalt, lithium, niobium, rare earth, phosphates, etc. All these are there. The only thing we don't have is coal. That's the only one we don't have. So manpower is not a problem at all. You find Ugandans working for NASA. Some of the people have been putting the American satellites in space are Ugandans because they were not handled well in the past. They work for this, what do you call it, Boeing. They are there. They are now coming back because we have improved their salaries. We had that struggle also with some other groups who didn't understand the value of the scientists. So the knowledge products, computers, electronics, and so on. Now, finally, services like hotels, tourism, all those transport, some element of transport, professional services like medical, and so on. That is the category 4. So I thank you very much. You be careful because I talk a lot, and when you invite me, you do so at your own risk. So I think I should control myself. Otherwise, I can talk endlessly. Because talking is one of my old jobs. And I was talking in the 1960s against the American involvement in Vietnam, and the embassies, the 2 embassies in Dar es Salaam, the one of North Vietnam and the one of the National Liberation Front. There were two of them. I used to go there, and they would give me rings made from the American aircraft which were being shot down. I was putting one of them on before I got my wife. That's when I So I thank you and I wish you good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Indeed, Your Excellency, you are an old friend of Vietnam. Your Excellency, we will now have